A guy I hooked up with in college started working at the same company as my fiancé and told him things about my past sexual history. Now fiancé is mad and considering breaking up with me. I have been together with a man I'll call Mark for 3 years now. He is 29 and I am 26, and we got engaged just 2 months ago. I love this man so much, and it wasn't long after we started dating that I could see myself being him forever, and I was so happy when he actually proposed. By now I feel like everything is falling apart, and I really would like some help and perspective, and it's a sensitive subject I don't really want to discuss with my family. Mark works in tech out on the East Coast where we live, and recently a guy from the Midwest, I'll call Ben, joined the company. Ben, it turns out, was a guy I had hooked up with once back in college. I had a bit of a wild phase in college. I came from a conservative family in the middle of nowhere, and when I joined a sorority I kind of got into the party scene. I hooked up with some guys at parties and from Tinder and tried a few things I never thought I would be into. Nothing too crazy, but not something I would have thought myself doing at an earlier age, but also since then. Honestly, while I had some fun, I also had some very mixed feelings about these days, which is why I wanted to firmly put them behind me when I moved away to join the real world. Well, apparently Ben figured out who I was when he saw a photo of me on Mark's desk. He didn't say anything at the time, but apparently at a holiday party Ben got shit-faced and told Mark about me. Not only did he tell him about the hookup, but he also told him about the rest of what he knew of my history, since, as he slurred, he thought Mark should know. In truth, the story, he said, was a mixture of truth and lies, since Mark barely knew me at all. I honestly cannot understand why he did such a thing, as we didn't part on a bad note, so I just understand why he would be so cruel as to tell such private gossip about me to my fiancé of all people. That night Mark came home, and he was simply furious. He first gave the gist of the conversation and asked me if it was true. I started to tear up right away and said it wasn't all true, but some parts were. Mark calmed down a bit, but asked me some specific questions. One was the number of guys I had been with, and I said it was over 30. He seemed so shocked, but I pointed out I had never lied. He never asked me. He also asked me if I had done the ass thing, which I said I had. At that point he straight up called me a liar, since we had talked about trying it before, and I said I wasn't comfortable. But that is the truth. I did it a few times in college, but it felt a bit degrading, which is not how I wanted to feel with a person I loved. At the end, Mark packed up some belongings and moved to a rental property he owns that is currently unoccupied. He said he wasn't calling off the marriage right then, but needed space to think. I am so sad and lost. I was never dishonest or deceitful with Mark and have been completely loyal. He is the person I want to be with and am fully committed to making our relationship be a happy one for the rest of our lives. But when he left, while he was polite, I could see so much disdain in his eyes. I feel both sad, but also confused and a bit angry. I tried so hard to be a good partner, and now I feel like he is throwing all of that away and judging me for a phase of my life that happened before he even knew I existed. How should I go forward? Above everything, I really don't want to lose Mark, but I just don't really know what to do or say at this point, and I am even confused about my own feelings about the situation, since I feel a sense of guilt, but don't really think I did anything wrong. Best comments. From a guy's perspective, I can understand why he feels the way he does. He obviously just feels a bit ambushed and embarrassed. I think the main reason he may feel so upset is the but thing. He may feel that you tried it with other guys who were just hookups, but then you wouldn't try it with him. I wish you all the best and hope everything works out. Yes, that's exactly what he said. But the truth is, I never physically enjoyed the act and afterwards felt like it was degrading. The few times I did it was a combination of pressure from the guys and a feeling that it was something like a fantasy of sorts that only seemed hot in the moment. But like I said, I figured out that I don't really enjoy it, and it's not something I now feel comfortable doing with someone I love and consider my equal partner. I feel like it's possible he is embarrassed because he had to find out information about you from someone else. Like some random guy knew you better than he does, and he found out publicly. Which is understandable, but I don't think he has a right to be angry about how many partners you had or whatever. The way he framed it was that he felt as though I acted dishonestly by acting like a different person and hiding an important part of me. But, like I told him and he admitted, I never lied about anything and he had just never asked about my sexual history before. I didn't talk about the past because I'm not comfortable talking about past partners and he didn't ask either. But basically, he said that he was always put off by the hookup scene. He said he only had sex in relationships and didn't think I was the kind of girl he associated with that scene. He used the term Tinder slut when he first confronted me, but later apologized for that. But it's not like that's a lie. Right now I am very different from the person I was in my first years of college. It's not like I was pretending or putting on some kind of a facade.